So once I have a graph, the next thing I want to do is come up with a line of best fit. So I can eyeball a line of best fit just by trying to get as many dots as I can, a line that's kind of, the dots are scattered on both sides. So there's my line of best fit. However, if I want to make predictions, what I want to do is come up with some kind of an equation. So the least squares regression line is just a fancy name for a really good line of best fit. And we think of it as our best line of best fit. Sometimes we abbreviated that as an LSRL, and that's just a fancy way of saying, hey, I want the equation of the line. Right? So we're going to use a calculator in order to get that equation. So the way you do that in the calculator is once your data is set in there, because we already have the scatter plot, we're going to go to Stat, and we want to do a calculation. So we're going to arrow over to Calc. And the type of calculation is we want to get an equation. So there are two of them. We like to use the one that looks like this, which is number 8. And it's in this form. So it gives you our starting value plus the growth times x. Right? So when you do that on a calculator, some numbers will pop up. So the numbers that pop up, you get A equals, and it's about 55. I'm rounding this off a little bit. You get B equals 9.4 about, and you get some other numbers. You get R as well that we're going to use later. So these numbers correspond to these variables here. So now in order to get the equation, all I've got to do is now write it in this form. So Y represents the score on the test, so I'm going to write that. The score, test score, I'm saying it kind of backwards, but it's the test score, and it's a predicted, so we like to put a little hat over it to represent the predicted score, right? It's not the actual scores, these are predictions that we're making. Right? And I'm going to use the equation to make that prediction, so I'm just going to take the A, which is 55, I'm going to add it to the B, which is 9.4, times X, which is the hours studied. Now what I can do is I can make a prediction based on the hours that I study, anywhere between 1 and 4 hours. I can use that equation by substituting in here to make a prediction. And those predictions from my equation are going to represent what's on my blue line. So that's how you come up with an equation, or in our case, the LSRL, or least squares regression line.